Good afternoon, friends, and thank you very much for being here this afternoon. I must confess I have no announcements to make, but that said, I'm sure I don't want to disappoint you if you have any questions to ask, and I will be willing to answer all questions. So let's start with, yes, Manish?
Akbar, there has been a deluge of reports and speculation about Prime Minister's foreign trips to at least 3 countries, United States, Japan and Bhutan. Could you give a factual account of where things stand today and maybe put a perspective to these Prime Minister's forthcoming foreign engagements? Thank you.
Thank you, Manish. Yeah, I'm certain this is an issue which has aroused interest in all of you. Maybe we need to start by saying that since the announcement of the election results in May, there has been an enormous amount of interest among a variety of leaders across the globe to meet our new political leadership. And if I were to try and put it in what these days is a way of explaining how much the interest is, and in digital diplomacy they use lots of words, and perhaps I could sum it as something like the Prime Minister's inbox relating to foreign policy is very crowded. And that happens for a variety of reasons. A, as I said, is because there is a lot of interest. B, also because there are, during the rest of the year, several multilateral, plurilateral meetings which generally the Indian leadership participates in. Let me start by trying to give that, and then we come to the bilateral part. There is a BRICS summit that usually our leaders participate in. That's in July. There is the United Nations General Assembly, where there have been often instances of our leaders participating at the highest level. That's in September. Then there is the East Asia Summit and the ASEAN India Summit meeting, which goes along with that, and that is in October. Following that, there is the G20 Summit, that is in November. So I'm just indicating to you that there are 4 major important multilateral, plurilateral meetings that are likely to happen, where India has always been represented by our senior leadership. And therefore, those are visits that will be on the agenda for our leadership. Pardon? Yes, thank you for adding to that. There is also a planned SAARC summit in Kathmandu in November. So you have 5 major summit level meetings. In addition, I think we need to understand that our relationship across the globe, if I try and recount, we have more than 20 strategic partners. And obviously, there is usually high level interaction with these countries who we have strategic partnership with. So you have 20 plus strategic partners, you have 5 multilateral, plurilateral meetings scheduled during the course of the next 7 months, or from now a little year. Obviously, that's why I said that the inbox of the Honorable Prime Minister is pretty crowded. Now let's come to what is being talked of. Maybe I will start with perhaps what would be his first visit. and I can confirm that the Honorable Prime Minister will be undertaking his first visit abroad to Bhutan. As you are all aware, India and Bhutan enjoy a special and unique relationship. It has been sustained by regular visits and extensive exchanges at the highest level between the two countries. In the light of these special relations, the Prime Minister looked forward to visiting Bhutan on his first visit later during the month. And I can also add to you, all the dates that have been speculated by all of you collectively in this room are not correct, because we are still exploring those dates. So that takes care of the first visit. Now, let me finish to Manish's question, and then I'm willing to answer other questions. I want to complete my argument. So the first visit is over. Yes. Now, as you mentioned, there have been speculation about a visit to the United States. Amongst the earliest leaders who contacted Prime Minister designate then was President Obama, and during that conversation he had extended a specific invitation to the then Prime Minister designate to visit the United States at an early date. Following this, we have received a specific date for the visit. We are now in contact with the US to work out what could be a mutually convenient date for both of us, for the Prime Minister to be in Washington for a summit level meeting between Prime Minister and the President of the United States. And therefore, I can't share with you a specific date. If you would like to know, like I said, in the case of Bhutan, that date is likely to be in the month of September. Pardon? No. As I said, let me repeat. As I said, for Bhutan, I gave you a month. That was June. In the case of the United States, I would like to give you a month, and that's September. I said that the Prime Minister will be visiting United States in Washington. Now, I've already told you that it is normal for our leadership to also participate in the United Nations General Assembly, and I've given you the month in which he is likely to participate there. There is a climate change summit that is to be organized at the United Nations headquarters, and that is a major event in the UN calendar. So that takes care, I hope, for you to understand about the United States, and we will let you know the dates once these dates are finalized. That leaves a third country that I think Manish referred to, and that is Japan. Yes, the Prime Minister has received an invitation to visit Japan at an early date. Subsequently, the Japanese Foreign Minister was also in touch with the External Affairs Minister, and we are working very closely with our Japanese counterparts to work out an early date as was requested by them. We will share those dates once these are finalized between India and Japan. I hope I've answered all your questions on all the three aspects of the issues you've raised, and also on the calendar. So let me summarize. The calendar for foreign policy issues of Prime Minister Narendra Modi is extremely crowded. We are working with a variety of our strategic partners to arrive at specific dates for specific requests that have been made. It is normal that given the range of our strategic partners, we may not be able to have all of them in the time frame of the 6 months that we are talking, but there will be opportunities at multilateral organization meetings or plurilateral meetings for them to interact. And we will make every effort towards that end. Yes, sir. Just a minute.
About Japan, today there were reports from Japan that Prime Minister Modi will visit Japan in July. So I want you to give us a date, the month of.
I think that's a fair question that you would like to know a month, and I will confirm that the month is likely to be July. Yes, Mr. Venkataraman.
What are the chances of the Prime Minister dropping by in Tokyo, either on his way to Brazil or on the way back? Thanks.
I think I've already reached the limit of my ability to share substantive information with you in terms of the month. Now, whether it is on the way forward or on the way back or before or after, I think you will give me that time and space to and another occasion to tell you that good news then. Anybody else on these 3 visits? Just.
Can be the first outside visit for the EAM as well, or what is the EAM?
Well, we have, I mean, let me put it another way. The Prime Minister felt that, and that you're aware, that India's foreign policy priorities are in the neighborhood. And you are aware because he did invite the leadership of our neighbors in South Asia to participate in his swearing-in ceremony. That said, he will fly to Bhutan as his first. Now, if you would like to know whether the External Affairs Minister independently would be going to another neighbor, my answer would be yes. This will indicate to you the neighborhood remains India's priority. We will let you know those because it is not before the visit of the Prime Minister to Bhutan. Now, if your question is who will accompany the Prime Minister, we will let you know those details separately, but I can confirm both the Prime Minister of India and the External Affairs Minister of India with both will have their first visits to neighbors. And if you would like, both in June. Yes, pardon? Yes. Yes, Dr. Akhilesh.
Sir, this is about Prime Minister Modi's visit to USA. Is any official coming from the USA before the Prime Minister visit here?
I mean, let me assure you, there will be many interactions between now and September. After all, between India and USA, we have 30 dialogue mechanisms. So be rest assured, there will be many officials coming, many officials going. I mean, there will be many. For example, there is likely to be a strategic dialogue between India and the US in Washington. We will work out the dates with the US authorities, unlike those speculative stories which have come out today saying that the strategic dialogue is going to be held in India, and according to those stories that it was the US who had requested. And when I checked up with my colleagues, this was the first they had heard. So please do not indulge in speculative basis of stories which have no basis in reality. The strategic dialogue normally has to be held by turns. Last time, as you are aware, Secretary Kerry was in India, in Delhi. And this time, the strategic dialogue will be held in Washington. And of course, it will be prior to the proposed interaction that we are exploring in September. Yes, Seema?
Can you tell us something about the forthcoming visit of the Chinese foreign minister?
I did not announce that because we have made the announcement
could you give us a
on
little
that.
bit of-
I mean, our understanding is that he comes as a special envoy of the President of China to engage with our leadership, and we will take it from there. So we would be in a listening mode to engage and see. After all, diplomacy, the essence of diplomacy is engagement, and we welcome the visit of the Chinese foreign minister. It would be on Sunday, and we will trouble all of you to come across on Sunday after the meeting, and we will, I assure you, brief you thoroughly on what were the aspects of the meeting. So get ready for Sunday. Yes, Padmarao.
Akbar, since you know a bit about the inbox of the Prime Minister, could you tell me whether there's been an invitation to visit from the European Union, which also happens to have a strategic partnership?
I only know, first let me clarify about that the inbox being crowded on foreign policy matters. On other issues, no. So let's be specific. As you are aware, the European Union is just completed an electoral process for elections to certain important bodies, that's the European Parliament, etc. At this stage, I offhand cannot recollect whether there is a new invitation, but as you are aware, it is India's chance to engage with the EU in EU, because last year we couldn't have the meeting. You are also aware that there are issues on that, and those issues remain on the table.
Sorry, in Germany?
Pardon?
And Germany specifically?
I mean,
Invitation or some sort of
I mean, between in,
message?
I will need to check up specifically, sure. Just one by one. Okay, yes, Gautam.
There is also some speculation that about EM would be visiting Dhaka in this month.
I mean, there is no end to speculation. I just told you about
Published
speculation. I just told you about speculation relating to where the strategic dialogue will be held, what are the dates of the Prime Minister's visit to Bhutan, and I told you that the dates being indicated are all wrong because exactly nobody has got it. So speculation I will not comment on, but I've already told you that the first visit of the External Affairs Minister in her individual capacity as External Affairs Minister outside India would be to a neighboring country. Yes. Yeah, no, there was, yes.
It's not speculation. It's reported in Bangladesh newspaper that the Foreign Minister of India would be visiting on the 26th June. Specifically, the date has been mentioned. Any truth in it?
I mean, I will not go further. I have not given you any date on any of those visits, including visits which will happen before. As I said, the visit of the External Affairs Minister will happen after the visit of the Prime Minister to Bhutan. So let's take one step at a time. I will not say anything about speculation because I don't know what newspapers in Nepal are saying or Sri Lanka are saying, or else you are very well clued up to what papers in one of our important neighbors are saying, and I will not get into those details. But please be rest assured, once it's finalized, we will certainly share them with you. Yes, yes, Ramesh. I will answer every question.
You said the Chinese foreign minister is meeting mostly on Sunday. Is he meeting the Prime Minister also on Sunday itself?
We are in the process, his bilateral meeting with the External Affairs Ministers on Sunday. They have made requests for other meetings. We are working on those dates because the next day the Parliament has a presidential address, or there is a major parliamentary event and that. So we are working to ensure that all the meetings are completed on Sunday. Yes, sir.
So this UNGA meet becomes an opportunity again for the Prime Minister of India to have a meeting with the Prime Minister of Pakistan. Generally the trend. So before that, India and Pakistan had decided the two foreign secretaries would meet. Any dates decided when the foreign secretary is visiting Pakistan or the Pakistani foreign secretary, as a preparatory this thing.
I think that's a valid question to ask, but I think you interpreted what Foreign Secretary said slightly differently. If I could recollect what she said that it was agreed that both the foreign secretaries will remain in touch. You could please try and recollect what she said. So, and she also explained what that would mean. It's available on the record. We will, of course, between now and September, there is much time. We will keep you informed of how those developments take place and how they keep in touch. Yes, sir.
The Prime Minister's visit to Bhutan, and before his visit to Japan, is there any other place where Prime Minister would be visiting before Japan? And
I already explained that already this is a very crowded inbox. Now you are adding to that. I mean, no.
And so how important you see his visit
No,
to Japan?
one question, I've answered your question, please, next. Always one question. Yes, sir.
Could you tell me about Indian migrant labor in Qatar, where over 300 have died here? And is the Indian mission aware of it, and what steps have been taken by the Indian mission to ensure their safety and to find out how they are dying? For what reason are they dying?
I think this is a story that has been circulating for some time. There are more than 700,000 Indians resident in Qatar. Also, 770,000 Indians resident in Qatar. I think before you make the claims or the assertions that you are making, please have a look at the normal death rate of people in that country, and also the death rate of Indian nationals who are resident in Qatar. The mission being aware, I think the facts of the case are the mission has revealed those details of the numbers of deaths. So please give us that credit that in most of the Gulf countries, you cannot bury or send a dead body back until the mission clears. So a record of every death in virtually every Gulf country is maintained by our missions. They act proactively. We have repeatedly said this, and I can reaffirm that in our assessment, these deaths there was no sort of reason to believe that the number of deaths are on the basis of anything but normal deaths. We've said it before, and I'm reiterating for you. Yes.
Could you share the status in the Herat abduction case?
Yes, our understanding is that the Afghan authorities have been able to come across certain concrete leads. They have shared these leads with us and are now working on them. At this stage, this is a work in progress, and they have kept us informed, and they have also explained to us how much effort is going into trying to resolve this matter or to pursue this case. And our understanding is that they are doing all they can, and in fact more than what we had expected in pursuing this matter. Yes, Rajiv?
Akbar, in October 2012, when the Russian Deputy Prime Minister Dmitry Rogozin had come to India, he had told reporters in New Delhi that you may spit in my face if Russia were to ever sell arms to your enemies. Now, the question is, are you going to confront him with those press clippings of his statement when he arrives here later this month? And what is your take on Russia lifting its embargo on sale of weapons, including Mi-35 helicopters, to Pakistan?
Rajiv, you always come up with the most colorful of questions. That said, I'd like to say that I do not wish to comment on media reports regarding Russia's relations with third countries. Now, as far as India-Russia defense cooperation is concerned, I can confirm that it is extensive, diversified, and has always been based on mutual benefit and sensitivity to mutual concerns. Just a minute.
My question was about the Herat issue. Have they indicated whether the gentleman in question is alive, the gentleman who's been abducted? Have you any indication of whether that is the case?
I will not get into a parlor game, dates, alive, death. I mean, look, we are dealing with an individual's life. The case has not been resolved. I've told you that there are important leads that they have shared with us, and they have told us they are working on all fronts on this. As diplomats, it is our job to indicate to you a trend of thought. It's not our requirement to share on a minute by minute what is happening. There are others who are doing this partially correctly, partially not correctly. But then this is the season for such speculation in every aspect of our work. Yes, Srinjoy.
Sir, some Sikh groups are approaching the UN today to ask for a probe on Blue Star. How is the Indian government going to
Can you
deal
just
with
repeat
this?
it? To ask for?
International probe on atrocities, quote unquote, during Blue Star.
They are approaching for a UN probe?
Yes.
Okay.
How is the Indian government going to deal with this?
Srinjoy, those who are aware of the UN Charter are also aware that, if I'm not correct, it's Article 2 of the UN Charter, which says that the United Nations will not intervene in matters which are essentially within the domestic jurisdiction of any state, except through coercive measures. And I don't think anybody is talking of that, so I don't want to give credence to sundry organizations who make such statements. Yes. Sachin? Here.
Sir, recently United Nations General Secretary has commented on the rape cases in Uttar Pradesh. So how does the government of India see those things?
Well, let me start by saying that it is not India's case that we are a perfect society. However, it is our view that as a society we have internal self-correction mechanisms in place. Now, as regards the rape case in Badaयूं, obviously this was a repugnant act, and we have no hesitation in condemning it. Numerous right-thinking Indians from every section and every walk of Indian society, including across the political spectrum, have already strongly and vehemently voiced their views on this repugnant happening. The incident has shocked both the government and the nation. Now, our understanding is that the perpetrators will face the full force of the law. Again, I understand that the 5 accused have been arrested by the Uttar Pradesh police. The 2 police constables who have been found guilty of connivance have been dismissed from service. The charges against the accused include murder, gang rape, criminal conspiracy. These charges carry a maximum sentence of life imprisonment, which means until the remainder of the person's natural life. I also understand that the case is now being supervised by senior police officials, and efforts are on to submit a charge sheet and indictment to the court for prosecution as soon as possible. I mean, in essence, what I've listed out to you is that action is underway, and it is now time for ensuring action and accountability rather than anything else. Yes, sir.
Can you give me some detail on the number of students being evacuated by MEA from this East Ukraine city, the SARC country students?
Oh, yeah.
How many students and how long it will continue?
Yeah. Well, we had issued an advisory some days ago that all Indian students in Lugansk should leave. Following that, we had sent 2 of our officials from Kiev to Lugansk to arrange for the departure and smooth move of approximately 1,000 Indian students who were studying largely from the medical colleges there, to come to Kiev and proceed to their respective homes in India. What we did was arranged or pre-booked, along with the assistance of the Ukrainian government, on 2 days, 500 seats each, because there were approximately 1,000 students. Both those, on both those days, we were able to use the full capacity. So right now, we have in Kiev approximately 1,000 Indian students, of whom about, I think, 950 or 960 came through that mode, and some others came of their own accord. Now, as regards students from other countries, you're right. There were several other countries from South Asia where students were studying, and we did receive requests from some of these countries to assess their nationals also, while we were assisting Indian nationals to be evacuated from Lugansk to Kiev. The numbers are, for your information: Maldives 16, Bangladesh 15, Pakistan 8, Sri Lanka 4, and Nepal 3. In addition, there were also 2 British nationals of Indian origin. All of them were assisted, and they are now in Kiev, and they will make their own arrangements to fly out of there. The Indian mission will assist them even in that. This is a humanitarian gesture that our mission worked on based on requests from some of the countries, and after all, they were all students. We had the capacity, and we did assist them. Yes, ma'am.
My question is about the multilateral summits that are scheduled for later this year. Is the IBSA summit among them? Is it likely to be held this year?
There is a talk of Brazil being the host for both the BRICS and the IBSA. Just sort of back to back. Yes, ma'am. Yes, Parul.
Nisha Biswal is in town. Has she already held her meetings? Who all is she going to be meeting? And what have been the discussions like if the meetings have already been held?
First of all, she's not in town yet. So there can't be any meetings. Well, let me try and say that she's coming as part of an ongoing engagement that she has with her counterpart, who is Joint Secretary Americas, Mr. Vikram Doraiswamy. This is not the first time they've met. She came here in March. Mr. Doraiswamy went to Washington in late April, early May, and she is coming tonight. Therefore, the meetings can't be held today. But this is part of ongoing official level engagement between the two contact persons who handle an extremely important relationship, both for us and for them. Yes, Ranjit, and then Ranjit.
Last December, issues relating to Devyani Khobragade became a major problem between India and US. Is that issue still live issue or what?
I mean, there are residual issues in this matter which are being attended to at an appropriate level.
What I heard, the French foreign minister is coming to India to upgrade the fighter aircraft Rafale sale purchase.
The Ministry of External Affairs doesn't deal with fighter aircraft. So I can't answer that question. But yes, there are several other foreign ministers also likely to come prior to that also. So yes, the foreign minister of France is likely to come in June, latter half of June. Yes, sir.
Sir, this is follow-up to Rajiv's question. This is now clear that Russians are in touch with Pakistan to sell their Mi-35 helicopters to Pakistan. Is that not a matter of concern for you, since Russia is the largest exporter of arms to India, that they would be selling their military hardware to our immediate neighborhood?
I think I've answered that question in the first point
that
that
a
I
matter
made.
of concern for India?
I've already answered that question, that we do not comment on media reports of Russia's relations with third countries.
Sir, as a goodwill gesture, India had released Pakistani prisoners on May 30th. So after Pakistan had said there are around 25 prisoners from that country who are languishing in Indian jails and who had completed their prison terms. So would you like to comment on?
Let me confirm to you that there are no Pakistani prisoners in Indian jails who have completed their sentence and whose nationality has been confirmed. So those who are in Indian jails from Pakistan as of now are those whose nationality either has not been confirmed by Pakistan or who have not completed their judicial sentence. I hope that's very clear. Yes, Naz.
Could you give just a sense where are the things now with the US regarding the nuclear liability issue?
I mean, there is a there's not been any discussion on this right now. There's a new government which is taking over, so the things are where they were last time, and you are aware of where they were. Anyone? Yes, yes, sir.
I think the Italian foreign minister had a talk with Sushma Swaraj. What is the update on that Italian Marines case? Are there any talks going on that?
Yes, the Italian foreign minister did phone the external affairs minister. This was in the nature of a congratulatory call that that the external affairs minister has received from several other ministers too. During the course of the conversation, both ministers discussed their that India and Italy have worked with each other on a variety of fields, both bilaterally as well as in multilateral fora. And sure, she did raise the issue of the Italian foreign minister, I mean, did raise the issue of the Italian Marines. The external affairs minister articulated the Indian position, which is that the matter is now sub judice. Anyone else? Thank you very much.